You can hear me all right?
You can?
Okay, we've got 25 seconds. So, like I said, it'll be the intro, and then I'll do my intro, and then I'll talk about. Three, two, one, go.
You are listening to The Rowbo Show, only on WXRW 1041, Milwaukee's River West Radio. It's The Rowbo Show. It's The Rowbo
Show. Hey, welcome back to The Rowbo Show. This is Mark Rowbottom. You are listening to River West Radio and 104.1 FM, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And today we're honored to be joined by Anne Marie Moss, the Executive Director of the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation. And the foundation carries forward the legacy of course, legendary Packers coach Vince Lombardi. And we all know he lost his life with colon cancer in 1970. Maybe we all didn't know that, but since the founding of the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation in 71, they've raised over $25 million to support cancer research, prevention programs, patient care, and survivorship initiatives. So this weekend marks another milestone as the foundation celebrates the 55th anniversary of the Lombardi Golf Class at the Wisconsin Country Club. So Anne-Marie, the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation has become one of Wisconsin's most respected charitable organizations. And when people hear the name, they think of Coach Lombardi's commitment to excellence. How has the foundation grown from just a memorial tribute? It was just the golf outing, right? When it originally started. And now it's a major force for cancer research and patient care. How did it get here?
Show, first of all. It's so fun to be here with you. And, I also want to be sure to thank you for your many years of volunteering with us in our Lombardi Golf Classic coming up. As you mentioned, this event this weekend will be our 55th anniversary. So it's such a special founding story. I really appreciate the chance to share that with you and your listeners on how a group of community and business leaders right here in the greater Milwaukee area, when Vince Lombardi died from colon cancer, it was just such a shock. It was like, how could this happen to someone who's so revered, has made such an impact? It really, I think really made that impact that no one can is guaranteed to avoid it, that it affects everyone regardless of your stature. And so they said they wanted to do something here in Wisconsin to in tribute and memory for Vince Lombardi and what he means to us as Packers fans, across the state, to make an impact in the fight against cancer and try to help other families avoid that terrible loss that happens when you face such a daunting diagnosis as cancer.
Yeah,
So
no, and I think
uh,
I think one of the things that stand out, and you hit on it, is the foundation isn't just funding research. You're also helping provide care and support for families that are actually facing cancer today. And that's a daunting thing for a family to have to go through. Tell us about that three-part mission: prevention, care, and finding a cure, and how that's different today than maybe it was in the past.
yeah, so
Um,
something that I think is really special is, when this group of volunteers came together in 1971 and held the very first Lombardi Memorial Golf Classic, it was important to them to both fund like patient support programs
mm-hmm.
and research. And that's carried through the entirety of our existence. This three-pronged mission, as you introduced, Mark, working to prevent cancer, provide superior patient care, and ultimately find a cure. It's evolved a bit over the years. For many decades, we had a close affiliation with a local healthcare organization, and we established Vince Lombardi cancer clinics at Aurora Healthcare. We funded several pretty significant and innovative treatment tools and supplies and resources through Aurora. And we also, so the clinics really supported the patients, which means a lot to families, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
place that people spend a lot of time if you're going through treatment for cancer. And so we were really proud to be able to, supply those with comfortable waiting rooms, to provide the technology for the doctors and nurses and caregivers to be able to treat patients well, to support the research needed to improve care and treatment. So it's really been a kind of incredible evolution, starting with that commitment to patient care and supporting research, and then elevating that wherever we can to also focus on the prevention side of it. I think that's been a little bit newer, Mark, to your
Yeah.
question about how has it changed, how's it grown. We really want people to be aware of how they can get screened for different cancers, things to watch out for when it comes to skin cancer, colon cancer, how our namesake lost his life. Everyone should go in for their screening starting at age 45, which is younger now than it used to be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that's interesting because I read about your medical advisory committee, and they review proposals from across the country. And where do you find these people to get on a medical advisory committee? And I'm assuming these are volunteers, just like I am. And thank you for thanking me for volunteering. But quite frankly, I enjoy it, and I'm happy to do it. I think it's a great cause and a great event. And of course, I love golf, so that helps too. Well, yeah, football too. Oh yeah, oh baseball. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I'm not a speed skater, but I
yes,
love Dan Jansen and Bonnie Blair.
yes, yes, they're
Yeah.
great.
So how do you get picked to get the medical advisory committee? How does that come together? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Our medical advisory committee are oncologists, both clinicians working with patients and researchers working themselves to further research that do, as you say, volunteer their time to review our grant applications.
Mm.
So our grant application cycle is currently open. It opened May 1st and goes through July 31st. People can find more information about the types of projects we fund on our website at lombardifoundation.org. And
Oh,
then this group of volunteers will, once the application cycle closes on July 31st, we put together a packet for them, and then they go through and use their medical expertise and their knowledge working with patients and in the research lab to give us input on what are like the exciting projects, how the projects where our funding is really going to make the difference to move the needle and find that next advancement that can lead to better care and closer to a cure.
yeah. And this is the $300,000 that you guys recently earmarked for this.
Yes, every year the proceeds from our events, like our Lombardi Golf Classic coming up this weekend and a few other events we have through the year, those net proceeds are all pooled together, and those funds then make up our grant awards. So exactly what you said, over $300,000 in 2025 was granted out through this review process. Our medical advisory committee, and then we also have several patient advocates who review the patient care proposals we receive. They make recommendations to our board of directors. And in the last board meeting of the calendar year, which will be in November this year, the board
Yeah.
reviews those recommendations, asks questions of the medical advisory committee members that are representative at that meeting, and then have some deliberation. They're very thoughtful in how they consider what awards to give and how to allocate those funds, that our community really comes together, Mark. It's the special part about what we do is being able to bring people together at our events and through other initiatives to fund this work.
Yeah.
All of us are affected, right? Like 1 in 4 people get a cancer diagnosis.
Oh,
And that's terrifying. And it means that every time you turn around, you're seeing someone who's either gotten that diagnosis themselves or has a family member or close friend who's facing it.
wow.
So, being able to come together, raise those funds, and then have those be what's granted out to make this difference and further this research is like such a powerful thing, I think.
Yeah. Anne Marie, do you look at those proposals at all? Those
Oh, absolutely.
really. Okay, here I
I
got it.
read every single one that comes through. I find them fascinating, Mark. I think, you know, when you take a job like this, you think a lot about like the forward facing things, right? Lombardi Golf Classic and meeting our celebrity athletes that come every year, and some of these like really fun food and wine event that we have in the fall. the thing that I think I've enjoyed the most is working with the medical advisory committee and our grantees. So I read all the
Okay.
proposals. I mean, it's fascinating what people are doing and how they are like using their expertise to further this, and just the commitment of the researchers and then the patient support programs and how dedicated they are to serving families. It's really incredible.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested. I have a friend that's a grant writer, and he said he's been
Mm,
using
yeah.
AI to write his grants lately, and had a lot more success.
Mm.
Do you think that when you get these proposals, you can tell if AI is an input?
Yes, I haven't noticed it. Like our grant cycle last year closed July 31st of last year, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's
Okay.
when AI is starting to be this trigger word we hear now, right, Mark? You know,
That might not be a
you
fair question to come from me because I'm a recruiter and I'm looking at proposals, if you will, or resumes and cover letters every day.
mm-hmm.
And there you can tell that some of them, if you know these candidates, it's like you did not write this. It's way too good. So I guess that's kind of, I don't want to talk about AI on every show, but boy, it impacts us in a lot of different places, and writing is certainly one of them.
That's
So
very true. It's very true.
yeah,
Because many of our applications are very research, they're for research. And so they're very scientific and very science heavy. And that type of an application would be super difficult to replicate with AI.
yeah, yeah. So
It's an interesting thing, Mark, with a funding environment that faced especially cancer research last year with NIH funding and, continuing this year, there were more than double the applications in 2025 that there were in 2024. So we had over 52 applications, the majority of which were for research, which really demonstrates the significant need for private funding, like what the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation provides. So
yeah,
it makes that element of us as community members coming together to volunteer like you do, and to donate in support of our work, sponsor our events. It just makes it that much more meaningful because there's such a need for it right now.
yeah. I'm kind of curious about the event. When it originally started out in '71, it was open to the public,
Mm.
and boy, they just packed the North Hills Country Club. It was so different than it is today. Um, I mean, I know I've been here for that evolution because I'm 66, so 50. I was 11 when this started, but I didn't participate. But I've heard stories about celebrities that have been there, and I'm just kind of curious. What are some of some of the celebrities that came back in the early '70s when it was first started?
All right, it's so cool, isn't it, Mark? Like, what a
Yeah,
neat
it
little
is cool.
slice of history we have, like right here, Menominee Falls, North Hills Country Club. It really is like quite a like kudos goes to our founders because they came together and wanted to make this impact, and they were really creative in how they could do that. And one of the first things they did was reached out to Bart Starr, quarterback,
Yeah,
under Vince Lombardi at the Packers, right?
yeah,
So, Bart was just instrumental in recruiting many other like professional athletes, celebrity players. We had, Bob Hope come. We had President Gerald Ford golf one year. I mean, there was just, astronauts came. I mean, they were creative in who they reached out to and recruiting these people. And it, really attracted a lot of attention. So starting in that very first year, they're like, we know we're bringing these celebrity players. Let's invite the public to come. You could buy buttons and get a program and get autographs. So it was quite the to do for those early decades for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So how has COVID changed it?
Well, that's exactly it. You say you don't want to talk about AI every show. It's probably also equally difficult to not talk about COVID every show because
Yeah,
all of
right.
us have just been so affected by it. And that really, it remained open to the public up until I believe 2019, and then with the pandemic, they closed the course to the public. I think that it was still held in 2020. 2020 they skipped it. 2021 it came back, but they kept the course closed just to kind of minimize that risk. There was still concern around large groups gathering and things. And then it just hadn't gotten reopened since then. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that we really are thinking to do. It's such a special, intimate gathering now, and we have some really great names coming this year. I mean, you might be familiar. There's a few Brewers players that have gotten involved. So
Yeah, Corey
Jonathan
Hart.
Lucroy is going to be here this year. Yeah,
Yeah,
Corey
yeah,
Hart, Jeff Jenkins, some other Hall of Famers. So that's a lot of fun.
yeah.
And we're
Vin
we're
Baker
excited to
and
see them. But
yeah. Vin Baker's coming from the Bucks. Yeah,
yeah,
and Jonathan Lucroy, Ryan Longwell, yeah, Bill Schrader. Some of these guys that they're such good supporters. They come every year. Frankie Winters is
so
coming this
wonderful.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lynn Dickey has come every year for like decades, and Paul Kaufman, who played with him on the Packers.
yeah,
It's really neat.
yeah. I talked to one of the longtime volunteers today, Jack Garvins, and he told me a story about Frankie Winters and Brett Favre and Mark
Oh yeah.
Tremera. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I think I can say it.
Is it appropriate for the air, Mark? I hear some stories from those two.
Well, everybody used to get a car. I guess the players used to get a complimentary car to get around, and these guys,
A loner, yes.
yeah, they went downtown partying and they couldn't find their car, so apparently it was lost for a week. But that's what Jack Garvin said, and he's volunteering on Saturday for his 51st time. So thank you,
Oh,
Jack, for
amazing.
your service. That's unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you to Jack.
But
And, you
let's
know,
let's swing into the foundation itself, because the foundation has built, some incredible events that have emerged out of the Lombardi Golf Classic, in the Award of Excellent dinner every March. This year's honoree, I believe, was the Milwaukee Brewers organization.
sure was. Yeah.
Okay, and recognized for the Brewers' commitment to cancer awareness and community impact. And
Yeah.
what makes the Award of Excellence such a special event on the foundation calendar?
Well, as you alluded to, there was this wonderful kind of evolution of the foundation. As we talked about, it was established by a group of volunteers who wanted to engage the community and their networks through an event. And so, roughly 20 years later, another group of volunteers said, we'd love to celebrate Vince Lombardi's commitment to excellence by presenting an award to another like nationally known figure who uses their platform in meaningful ways to make a difference. So established the Award of Excellence event, which celebrated 35 years this year. And we've given the award to many well-known names. There's a whole list on our website at lombardifoundation.org if people are interested in seeing who past awardees would be. Um, and it's a really special way to celebrate impact, raise awareness about the foundation and our work, in addition to raising the funds we need to carry out our mission and supporting cancer research and treatment programs.
Yeah, that's all.
Then I know that we've talked a little bit about our other event here in Milwaukee in the fall, our food and wine experience,
Yeah,
which
right. That's in
again is a
November.
similar story. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's another group of volunteers that came together about 25 years ago and said, they were working in the service and hospitality industry here in Milwaukee, which I'm sure we've all noticed have gotten like a lot of attention this year with, the Michelin Guide coming and a lot of exciting announcements around some of our restaurants and James Beard nominees and finalists. So
very
this
fun.
group of yeah, it's really cool, Mark. Like they came together and said, how do we all support cancer research and treatment through the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation? How do we bring together all these restaurants? So they established this food and wine experience, which is a super fun night. It's
Yeah.
a pretty have you been to it before?
No, I haven't been to that one, but I've been to others similar. The Pfister's a great place to have
It
an
is.
event. It really is. It's just special. And just going there and walking in that lobby and being part of a fundraiser like that, that is really a special feeling. And I have had that, yeah. So
Oh, it's
I've
good.
done the
Yeah, our food and wine event is it takes over the entire seventh floor. So that feeling times two, with two grand ballrooms
mm,
filled with high-end restaurants and lovely wineries. We've had some distilleries and breweries that participate. And so attendees just taste throughout the room. Last year we had two jewelry vendors there donated a percentage of sales back to us as part of the event.
Oh,
And,
awesome.
you know, it was really fun. We get, hundreds and hundreds of people through. And I think I've heard a lot from, friends, family, supporters have gone to the event, just how fun it is to know that you're making a difference by
Yeah.
attending that type of event without necessarily sitting down for a dinner and program. So I think it makes it really special.
Yeah, I think it's really great too that the sponsors can be there and to be a part of the event. It's really a great way to get them to donate and towards the cause. And let's just talk about this weekend's big event though, the 55th Lombardi Golf
Yeah.
Classic. Now this year this is a new venue, the Wisconsin Country Club. Can you talk about um, why we're at the Wisconsin Country Club? And I was out there last Thursday. I went on through the whole course to see it because it used to be Brynwood. It was a private course, and I never, as being a golfer, I never golfed it, but I knew of it. And it's a fantastic course, and the facilities look great. What are your expectations of this new location, this new venue for the time being, and how long do you expect
They've
it to
been just a
last?
wonderful partner. Yeah, Mark, I think you kind of answered your own question by
Yeah.
sharing accolades for the venue itself. It's a beautiful course. The clubhouse is lovely. The staff is wonderful to work with. It's been just really a lovely new change. There's been discussions over the years, of course, like how do you keep things fresh and new and interesting? And so we're really proud to partner with Wisconsin Country Club this year for the event. And your listeners are welcome to sign up for our email newsletter to receive announcements like this, right? Like kind of a big deal when you have a new venue and something new's coming up. And so there's a really neat little email sign up on our homepage at the bottom at lombardifoundation.org. That's just a great resource for people who are listening who might want to be in the know
Yeah.
about fun changes like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Speaking of fundraisers, WXRW, our station here, we had a fundraiser on Friday on the Vista King, and Vista King holds 150 people. We had 149, and it was a good
Nice
cause,
work.
and it was yeah, right. I actually sold 153 tickets. I was banking on some people not showing. Only 4 didn't show, so I'm not going to do that again next year.
Lucky you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Lucky me, the gambler. But it was really a lot of fun, and not just for the organizers. I think we didn't probably enjoyed it the least because we were kind of uptight about getting the last people on and overselling and the food and blah blah blah. So I think it's a fun thing for the people that participate that aren't necessarily sponsors, that just say, hey, what are we doing that night? Let's try it. It's a lot of fun, especially if you don't have the
Yeah.
pressure of being somebody running it or being even a vendor sponsor.
There you go.
Yeah.
We've got a fun thing coming up next week that's exactly fits that description, Mark. And it's a little lower pressure for me as a staff person too. On June 11th is Vince Lombardi's birthday.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
we thought exactly what a better excuse than to bring a bunch of people together and celebrate Vince Lombardi's birthday. We'll bring the cupcakes. We're hosting at Lombardi Brewing Company, which is relatively new. Vince Lombardi's grandson opened this brewing company. It's in the former City Lights brewery space. So
Okay.
we are going to be there on Thursday, June 11th at 5 p.m. Some of our grant recipients will be there. People want to meet them. We'll provide cupcakes for everyone. But it's just a fun, low key, like you're saying, like come together, like know that you're supporting something for a good cause, and learn a little bit more about our work. Meet some of the people that are impacted, socialize. I mean, I'm sure going to be a beautiful day to enjoy patio and a few beers outside on June 11th, Lombardi Brewing Company for Vince Lombardi's birthday celebration.
Oh, no, is this the inaugural?
It's the second year. So
Okay.
we started doing it last year with our first event. Last year we actually launched our monthly giving program called Lombardi's League. So that was sort of like the kickoff event for Lombardi's League, and we thought it was so much fun that we would do it again this year. So
Yeah.
there's a few special perks if you're a member of Lombardi's League, and anyone who's interested in that can learn more on our website at lombardifoundation.org.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
it should be a lot of fun. I hope you can come, Mark.
yeah, June 11th. I'll put that on my schedule. It's a tight one, though. But, hey, I was going to say, now you joined us in 2024, and I looked at your LinkedIn. I was looking at, where you came from, and You've been an executive director for other missions. How does this mission different for you as an individual, and how more rewarding is it for you? Because I get the feeling that you really, just by the time I've spent with your job and the interviews that I've done with people, you seem very passionate, and I can tell you like what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. It's quite a compliment given your experience.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
when I was considering this job, my mother had just finished treatment for breast cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry to
And
hear that. That
my
sucks.
grandmother had passed away from breast cancer years earlier. So, I was a younger person then, but you hear that word early in your life and know the significance of it.
Right.
And then as I'm going through interviews, one of my dear friends was diagnosed with a really rare blood cancer, which does not have a cure yet. And then as the first year in taking the job, another really good friend of mine, she went in for her colonoscopy, age 45. She's a, kind of perfectionist, straight A type person. And they found cancer. She had 10 inches removed from her colon. She underwent 10 months of chemotherapy. She had two small kids at home. Luckily was able to ring that bell and hear those magical words everybody wants to hear, which is no evidence of disease. I mean, it's just amazing how you live for those words. And that makes it profoundly personal to be able to support the research that we do and the patient programs that we do, because it's a little way that I can feel like I'm making a difference in something that's so monumental and that has affected people I love and care about so directly. And I feel like many people that are part of our community at the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation feel the same, that cancer makes you feel so helpless. You feel like you can't do anything when you know somebody's facing that, or you, heaven forbid, yourself hear those words. And so coming together and being in a room full of other people who feel similarly and like all contributing to support the research that is needed to get to that next better treatment, or that next better patient support program, like it just gives me goosebumps. It's something that makes it so meaningful. And as you say, just it gives me such joy to be in this role and to be part of this foundation in particular. I love the community that comes together.
Oh, it shows, and thank you for sharing something very personal too. That's unbelievable, and yeah, I think that probably a lot of our listeners can relate to what you just said. So what a fortunate opportunity, or how almost cathartic having this job, be feeling like you're at least doing what you can to be part of the solution.
It does really help. And we welcome more volunteers to join us in this work, Mark, like yourself. People can sign up to help with events. We've got other opportunities working with our grantee partners throughout the year. So again, our website, lombardifoundation.org, there's a tab at the top that's Get Involved.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few ways listed there, including our volunteer sign up form. So we'd welcome anyone to sign up and be part of this work. Come to our events and support the mission directly. It does make a difference when you've heard that and you feel helpless and you're like, this is my outlet. This is something I can do that is directly making a difference. And we share a lot of updates from our partners to really illustrate the impact you're making with your gift, to help you feel like you're contributing, or help you understand how you're contributing to the forward motion. And those updates are in our monthly impact update newsletter that we send out. So I think I've mentioned that sign up is on the bottom of our homepage at lombardifoundation.org to get those updates and hear about what our work is doing and how people can get involved, and reminders about events like our happy hour next week, June 11th at Lombardi Brewing Company.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's going off right now, because we still have another minute and a half. So, but I was going to say, if you guys got questions regarding the show today, you can always email me at mark@rowbottom.com. And remember that River West Radio streams live, so you can get it. All you have to do is go to riverwestradio.com and hit the streaming live button. And we're always looking for donations. We had a great Friday, but to keep this a community thing going,